Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Neil here with Simpler Trading's end of week wrap up. Last I was with you was last Friday, and I'm really coming to you mainly from the Voodoo Mastery within Simpler Trading, and we looked at a few things. Some of those indicators of David Starr's and the reason we were looking for, what we were looking for this week. So this is a daily chart of the ES. I was right here, and we were looking up at the beginning of this week. Now it's a short week, right? We only had Tuesday through Friday with a hot Monday holiday. And we come in, lo and behold, we get the big uptick on news, I guess, but still it's a big uptick. And we wanted two targets, one of which we got, the other one we didn't quite get. 59.50 and 60.50. It's traded up to about 60.10. We go on that high, though, yesterday. That was done in the Globex. And from the time the market opened, it really just traded a little bit lower, and ended up doji day from prior settle, because that high was actually achieved in a Globex overnight session. And I didn't like the shape or look of this candle much at all. That's an excess high for the move on selling. And so I was worried that indeed today we might get a little fall through to the downside. And it did, and look where it went perfectly. I mean, the low within like one or two ticks was the weekly pivot. And that was a bearish target for us today, if indeed price action happened to prove to be a little bit bearish, and it did. But we also had bullish targets, if it were to go up. So we're really kind of neutral in here. Price, I call this stuck in the wicks, right? So price is, you got an excess on the top and the bottom, and price is like right in the middle, stuck in the wicks, right? It's not a good place to be. Frankly, this market is still bullish. I mean, but I just don't like it as much, really, as I did last week. I was really firm about. I'll tell you this: the first of next week is going to be first of month. Usually, have some positive flows first part of the week, right? On new money, investment money come in first of the month. That's kind of a thing with early month markups. So I will tell you this, though. Here, moreover, I'm really honestly just kind of... the market is bullish. I do think, it eventually it kind of goes to the upside. But it's not in any hurry to get anywhere from here. I know maybe a little bit of why. Let me show you another thing that does kind of stand out and bothers me a little bit. We're right in... oh wait, I gotta get the contract that I want up. Alright, so we are coming pretty soon, a month out, right? But we're coming into this June quarterlies. All right, now let me show you when we get there what I'm kind of concerned about, and that is that right there. They call that the JP Morgan Equity Hedge Desk's collar trade that they put on quarterly. And that is a lot of open interest. And that sits at 59.05 in the SPX. And that's at the end of June. Now, I don't see around corners. This thing obviously could trade, through there at the end of June, but it's not likely. I've seen this trade have pretty profound effect in the past, and it acts as a magnet, but it also, it kind of ties things up until that trade goes off the board and we find where the next one is. It'll be it'll be marked up another 5%. The next one for September will be marked up another 5% from wherever it is midday on the 31st. That's approximately where that next one will land. But it's tough. I mean, it's a tough call right in here because I was really firmly headstrong about the bullish nature of this week, and of course that's, and we're I mean, it traded this week. It traded 58.20 or 58 almost 10 actually. It opened 58.20 and then dipped on the Globex at the open, traded down to like 58.10 up to 60.10. So it's 200 wide, and certainly that's bullish. Moreover, this thing ultimately and eventually is bullish, but we're into a lot of, even if it punches through, I'll say it this way, even if it punches through, honestly, I think it comes back and settles around that that 05 SPX print. So that, that's just kind of where I'm at. I mean, any trade through today, Friday, any trade early week, next week through this technically would trigger off another long, and I would have the same targets for next week that I had for this week. Honestly, there's not a lot new here. I guess I am adding one new kind of observation or component, and that is that SPX open interest at 59.05, and it is absolutely noteworthy. Don't take your eye off that ball. But there's a lot going on in here. I've got the yearly open labeled right there. We've got that voodoo fire line that I keep clued you into last week right there. That's that proprietary indicator that we use at Simpler Trading. And it's so clearly there is an awful lot to chew through here. A lot of work to do. And then when you add that big open interest in the SPX, it says, well, really you're going to futz around in here a bit and just kind of, and even bids, they come back in on volatility and news and all that kind of stuff. And we just kind of hang out here for a bit. Same targets next week as we used for this week. Hopefully, though, the explanation that I'm offering as to the why, that part helps, right? Other than that, there's not really a lot to add. So I'll just wish you good trading, and for next week. Frankly, I think we did a fantastic job throughout the week in navigating the volatility. Encourage you to consider come joining us in the Simpler Trading and the Voodoo Mastery, and we'll have a look at this every day together and trying to figure out how to navigate each of these turns. Right? It's bullish, but it's also quite, it's bullish in that we're clearly in an uptrend from the April lows. It's neutral, though, on this little time frame right here, in that price is stuck in the wicks against all this overhead that's just above. That's what I've got for you. Okay, good trading and good night.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me